79T 2458 Learning Corp. Little Red Riding Hood. Take one.
40 years of my life is in the wire that's gone. Does that make sense?
Where they say there are Indian people pooping on our beach.
It's a spool of wire. 40 years of my life is in the wire that's gone.
Hey, what's going on? The camera's back. The camera's back. What can I say? Dude, I love this new thing. We're going to have such good fun. And as always, I always love upgrading the setup here. It's just, you guys do a lot of great work supporting the channel, buying the merch, reading the books, enjoying the books, entertaining yourself. I like to think it's a mutual beneficial thing. But I always love throwing a little. I refuse to be Aaron Clary with my 2006 Zoom meeting setup. 100,000 subscribers. A Zoom meeting. Nah. We're not doing that. Anyways, I see you guys in the chat. I see people on the little analytics thing here. I will get into what started this. I was realizing a lot of the issues. Like, we talk about beta bucks and alpha fucks. If you guys don't know what that means, that's something Rollo Tomassi, the Red Pill Godfather, the one he kind of came up with, where the idea was there was two different categories of men that women put us into. The idea of being the provider or the lover. He called it alpha fucks, beta bucks. Doesn't really matter. The fact that they're there, and you kind of intuitively know it yourself. When you are with a group of guys, you can tell there's the ones that are kind of like the jock and the nerd. The bifurcation is there, is the point, right? And while as you get older, it's not really as big a concern. Like, even the nerds will end up settling down and whatever. And even the jocks will end up kind of softening up over the years. You know, you start a family, you get older, you don't feel like getting another knee injury at the football team. And so this kind of slowly, the civilization of men happens. One of the big tells of which side of that spectrum you fall on is neuroticism, which you never would have thought. And David Dutton got me onto that one too. So the idea is the neuroticism makes you constantly worried about future scenarios and like theory crafting a bunch of stuff that happens in the future, which never plays out. And then this causes you to be very inactive in the present, which ends up causing a lot of problems in your life. Whether it's red-pilled, whether it's relationship, whether it's whatever, it doesn't matter. It's universally applicable. Why didn't you get that raise at work? Well, I don't want to push the... And you kind of mumble an answer, because there's no real answer to it. It's a feeling. Facts don't care about your feelings. Thanks, Ben. Good luck on that unemployment line. Hey, did Matt Walsh ever find a job, by the way? I've been meaning to ask that. He's the beacon that lights the way. Jack, you're the dick that fucking... good morning, still working on praxeology. Cheers. Oh, that's awesome. Like I said, take your time. It's not meant to be a blast through it. I don't write it as if it's like a very clear, concise 8th grade reading level thing. I don't coddle or hold back. I use what I think is the adequate level of information that gets you from here to there. And sometimes it might be simplistic, and sometimes it might be overly complicated to the average reader, because everybody's going to have a different spectrum on that one. So take as much time as you need. Yeah, seriously, Cappy got that far with a blue Yeti and a potato cam. I know. Who'd have thought that yelling at the goddamn Democrats would be able to succeed despite all of the professional hardships. All right. Back to this one. So the neuroticism. And neuroticism, easiest way to describe it is in how we perceive time. You know, there is past, there's present, there's future. Everybody knows this. Basic time stuff. David Dutton wrote in Wisdom of Psychopaths, and one of the things that he's like really good at explaining is what prevents psychopaths, or what mechanism that they have keeps them from freaking out over stuff. And he ultimately came up with the idea of present time hedonism versus future tense. What does that mean? Well, a psychopath, and again, dark triad traits, psychopath, replace psychopath with attractive here. Sexually attractive, alpha, all that stuff. Excuse me, I see the super chat, I'll get to it in a second. Present time, that means you're not worried about tomorrow, you're not worried about yesterday. And why does that matter? Well, here's the thing, and you guys all know this. You've seen enough guys talking about the black pill and the doomer and all this nonsense, right? And how world's going to hell. God knows I have my fair share of it. Living in Rwanda 2.0. Or not Rwanda, Rhodesia 2.0. Not Rwanda yet. We're getting there, but we're not there yet. Yeah, it's the past tense. Living in the past tense always builds resentment. It's always about that shit your bitch wife did before. Kids are this, the boss is this, everything is this. Every time it's past tense stuff, it's always resentment or nostalgia. But in this case, we're talking resentment. Because most people aren't sitting here in a lackluster marriage, a lackluster job, or a lackluster life thinking about how great all this stuff was. It's usually resentment about the things that you were owed and whatever. Does not work. Does not help. Yeah, but it's true. Yeah, well, who fucking cares if it's true? Is it useful? It's not useful. All right, well then, fuck truth. Truth is, we should be sitting here in mud huts treating our women like gods. Otherwise, the tribe won't survive. So yeah, truth doesn't really help us too much. Not at all. Future is all about anxiety. Future is worry. Future is neuroticism. Oh my God, if I go talk to that girl, she'll reject me. And here's the thing about that too. Neuroticism isn't so much that you're very smart, although that's a factor of it. Very smart, you can see into the future, and in your head you can put together the patterns that if I do this, she does this. It's a very reactive thing. So even though it's future tense, it's reactive. In other words, it's like past focused. Very strange. And if you guys have ever done this, I call it doing the Swiss watch, where the idea is like, if I can just put the right gears and the right parts, make the right decisions, talk to the right thing, use the right choice of words, then everything will work out and I'll have a conflict-free life. Hey, covert contracts. Does that not sound familiar? It does sound familiar. Thank you very much. Very familiar. And anybody who's done this, and if you guys have done this, you let me know in the chat too. It never works out. It never works out. Not one time have you ever in your head gone, well, if I do this, they'll do this and do this, and have it actually happen. Never. And if there's one guy in the chat that says it, I'm like, you fucking liar. You're a fucking liar. So again, is it true? No. Is it useful? Also no. So if anything, the resentful guy stuck in the past is actually far better off than you with your curse of the high IQ. That's the real curse of the high IQ. Talking yourself into a burnt out adrenal gland. I'm Swiss and I'm guilty of doing the Swiss watch. Well done, sir. All right, Null, 10 euro super chat. Thank you for your patience. You're the best. I beg to differ, sir. I would like to think those of you who give 10 euro super chats are the best. Especially Null. Null's been a long-time supporter of the channel, and he truly is the best. Okay. Now that we've gone through the fluffing here, leave the money on the nightstand. Present tense. Present day hedonism. What is that? Oh, you focus on what's happening right now. What about your wife? Think about all that shit she did to you in the past. What a bitch. Like, whatever. Can't change that. And thinking about it just pisses me off, so I'm just going to choose not to. What about the future? Well, maybe if you do this, then she'll do this, but what if she divorces you? What if this? It's like, none of those things are going to happen. How do I know? Because we thought they would. Life is an unending series of universally applicable situations that you cannot predict. If you had that kind of predictive power, you would be a billionaire. And you're not. You're a 100,000-aire, a 10,000-aire, a 1,000-aire, maybe even a millionaire if you're in the Canadian real estate market. Or as Chesty puts it, liquid versus illiquid millionaires. Which I was like, yeah, damn, that's good. The lighting's giving Taxi Driver vibes. Oh, dude, just wait. I've been playing around. I see some, like, noir videos coming up in the future. All kinds of stuff. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. But for now, we're just going straight up beachy blue. It's like the 2000s Mario Kart on the beach level blue. With this is probably my my most visually irritating of the Hawaiian shirts too. Just staring at it makes your eyes hurt. And I'm like, perfect. Okay, back to task. So you have present, you have past, you have future. Two of them don't work, or one of them isn't true. Both of them don't work. The present day one. And again, I've heard this objection before. Well, if you just think about today, you're just going to do this, and then you end up with drugs and blah, blah, blah. See what I mean? The future tense hedonism. You can't even look at somebody suggesting deal with what's right in front of you right now. Deal with the immediate consequences of your actions, the immediate feedback that you're getting without thinking to the future. And oh, it'll cause this and it'll cause this. And the Bible said that. And Hawkins said this. And fuck off. Just look right in front of you. And it's hard. I'm not saying it's easy. And this is what started this whole, all my notes for the episode here. I was talking with one of the guys in the community, which we, by the way, moved on to Substack. It's doing awesome right now. I'm going to do a bunch of pitch work, but I'm going to finish this part first. So we all run through our field reports, and the whole idea of them is ODA. Observe, orient, decide, act. You look at things, you orient towards a decision you want to make the decision, then you act on it, and then you observe how it worked out. And one guy had this thing, but it's been kind of popping up sporadically throughout, is that the worry is about being overly critical, highly critical. And I'm like, what would be adequately critical? Because you have to be critical. If you're doing something with the intention of improving some aspect of your life, right? You're trying to improve some aspect of your life. You have to be critical. There is clearly something that you are not doing, or not doing right, or doing right but not sufficiently, that needs to be changed. It can only be one of those three things. I'm either not doing it, I'm not doing it right, or I'm doing it right but not enough. So you have to be critical. So what is adequately critical? How is it adequate? And you can't tell a guy who's that neurotic future sense to be adequately critical, because for them, when they hear that, they think, well, I got to theory craft more in the future. I got to think, well, what about this step? What about this step? You're 7 moves ahead. None of that stuff happens. So you're not adequately critical. You've just created a structure to your neuroticism. Does not help. Doesn't help. You can't think to the past guy to be overly critical, because then he'll look to his criticality, everything that happened in the past. Well, last time I did this, that bitch did this. And last time I did that, that bitch did that. It's not being it's being overly critical. So what's adequately critical? And again, I keep going. I don't know how you guys it's like 360 episodes of this fucking show right now. I've been saying the same thing for about 87.6% of them. I don't know how you keep listening. I guess they really do say, like, repetition. Say what you said, say what you're gonna say, and then say it. And then say what you said after. What is adequately critical? And it's simple. I mean, it's not simple, but it's easy. But it's not easy either. It's simple and easy, but it's not simple or easy. You have to define terms. You have to define terms. And you have to do it when you're not in situ. Because if you do that, then your emotions, your ego, your resentment, your future, neuroticism, they all take over. They all love a kick at the can. And say what you will about the red pill stuff. I love how it's a bunch of dudes swapping notes on how to get laid. They're like, oh, it's such a crass thing. No, it's beautiful. You guys don't understand the magic of that simple statement. It is the core biological function of man. That's it. If you want to break down, oh yeah, there's our higher level functions here. Let's go all the way down. Let's go past the lizard brain even. Let's go straight into that, like, insect instinct. Null with another 10 euro super chat. Thank you very much, sir. Don't worry about it. I'm too drunk. Are you too drunk? Or are you adequately drunk? What does it mean to be too drunk? What does it mean to be adequately drunk? Something to think about there. Yeah. Anyways, being serious here. By the way, you're adequately drunk. If you can type without any typos, pretty sure, especially since you're European, so English probably isn't your first language. I think it's adequately drunk. So yeah, defining terms. And you'd be surprised how often people do not define terms. Marketers don't define terms. People don't define terms. Their wives don't define terms. Nobody defines terms. Do you know why nobody defines terms? Do you really want to know, like, the secret to why nobody defines terms? They don't define terms because then you're held accountable to the definition. That's really it. This is really it. Or sometimes it's just you don't know, but for the most part it's, I don't want to be held to these standards. I like to keep it vague. I like to keep it fungible. You know who does that? Women. Women love to do that. I didn't say that. You literally said those exact words. Oh, I didn't say it like that. Your tone changes the context completely into what it actually means versus what I intended. What did you intend? I intended to say things, feel good, and then have nothing come of it. Well, okay, thank you, ma'am. I don't know how I keep listening. It's hard. Marty, don't ever change. If you define terms in the off-the-cuff joke, it tends to ruin it. No, it doesn't. That's the thing. If you make an objective definition, and it doesn't even have to be an objective definition. It can be subjective as long as it's clear. Swapping notes to get laid. The most basic of human emotions. And you know why I think it's a wonderful way of framing this red pill thing? And, well, first off, it's great for marketing. It sells on sex. It pisses off the liberals and the goddamn Democrats. And it attracts a certain type of guy who's very prone to be like a cargo cult sycophant. Which, from marketing perspectives, dude, if you can get one of those like righteous zealots, oh fuck. I mean, that's not my thing, but I'm just saying, marketing wise, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. More importantly, these definitions matter because then you can judge what is adequately critical. And that's ultimately what I'm getting to on this episode. Adequately critical. If my goal is to get laid, here's a bunch of red pill stuff. You're in a marriage. The goal is to get laid. You say it. A, you've established that A, you're not willing to let the feminine primary social order dictate what it is you're allowed to desire. That's one of the few things that you will get an unending supply of middle-aged soccer moms telling you that you're absolutely an Austrian painter for even thinking about that. How dare you want such crass things? Doctor, he pees out of that thing. I can't be using that. This is horrible. Whatever. Yeah, it's ultimately what we want. So when you get that, you're going to find out exactly what everybody else figured out. Well, what now? I got that. It's a great goal. Now the goal's here. Of course, you'll also find out for a lot of guys, it's that they didn't actually want that. But, and this is what I'm talking about with the adequately critical and competent thing. It's a common thing as hell. Guys will come in. They say they want to get laid. Well, they usually hide around it, but we're getting to the point where they get past and they're like, all right, I need to have more sex. This is fucking ridiculous. And then their wife rejects them. And they get mad. And it's like, and so then the conversation will switch to, all right, well, here's catch and release. Here's a way to go see, is the issue that no girl will sleep with you, or the issue where this one girl won't sleep with you? And then guys will go do that. They'll find that, oh, dude, for a girl who doesn't know all the bullshit I've had, all the baggage they built up, and the resentment, and, whatever it is that makes her a bitch, you will find, oh my God, it's deceptively easy. Girls are just throwing it at you. All you have to do is be decently in shape. I'm ignoring the guys here that, like, no girl will sleep with them, because then they just do self-improvement stuff, and that's fine. Get thin, get muscular, string a sentence together, sound somewhat charming, try smiling more. That's all it takes. I mean, there's a lot in there, but moving aside. Aside from that, let's not get distracted. You start to find that the guys who realize, dude, a lot of girls are willing to, like, pick up the slack if my wife doesn't do it. And then they start to hum and they start to haw. Oh, I don't think that's worth it. And it's never real stuff. It's always mumbling nonsense. You know why? Because it's hard to admit this stuff to yourself, let alone out loud. And I am not joking One of the things I discovered very quickly on, back when I was still doing in like face-to-face one-on-one consults, I would say a good half the guys, just getting them to describe their situation and what it is they're trying to achieve would break down, tear up. And I will tell you, as a fellow man, there is nothing more awkward than have another man crying in front of you. But luckily, the military has trained me very well on dealing with this. I have actually been briefed on how to handle a student or a subordinate crying in front of you, which was the strangest conversation I've ever had with a petty officer. Having said that, I am glad it happened, because in my career it probably happened 3 or 4 times. And then in the sphere here, 2 or 3, well, 4, 5. So officially, more criers in the sphere than in the military. Barely, though. It was close. And I'm not saying it to mock them. Some guys' situations are very dismal. And it's not even that. It's that the part that gets to guys is the part where they realize they've been lying to themselves. But you can lie to yourself in your head. Your head will give you the dopamine spike of telling the truth, even though you're lying to yourself, because it just feels better, that noble lie. But when you say it out loud, you have to say what's actually happening. You have to access a different part of your brain. And then to hear it, to hear those words, sucks, man. Really sucks. So I'm smiling and I'm goofing around here, but I get it. I get why this isn't easy. But I'm telling you, this is why it's important. You define those terms. So yeah, I thought you said it was about getting laid. How come all of a sudden this girl's offering it to you? She's not attached to your thing. You don't have to worry about embarrassing your wife. All the objections. Everybody's heard them all before who's been in here. We know all the objections. We know how to get around all the objections. If you want this pathway, there is a pathway to success. You just got to go here. Your issue, and you've heard the platitudes. Your wife doesn't get sole custody of your libido. She gets first crack. Infidelity is not a crime. Stuff like that. And even then, they'll still hum and they'll haw. And you're like, oh, say, so the issue wasn't you didn't want to get laid. You want your wife to fuck you. Yeah. All right, well, then we go there. You know, some more game stuff, whatever. And you find out the wife's just kind of phoning it in. She's just laying there. Maybe once a month, just enough to keep you from like getting frustrated and making her life hell with all the nagging. So she's like, fine, throw it in, hurry up. Guy's still not happy. I thought your issue was you wanted to get laid, yeah. Except for you didn't want to sleep with anybody. You wanted to just sleep with her, yeah. And now that you're actually sleeping with her, now it's not good enough, yeah. So what's the issue? I want, and this is why marketers love saying genuine desire. I want genuine desire. They don't know what they want. Marketers put that shit in their head. Think about that. Until you heard, and I'm not saying this to shit on anybody, like the first time you heard Rich Cooper or Rollo Tomasi or me or Paul or Podcast Paul or John or Jack or Rob, or actually Rob wouldn't have said it, or Morin or Walter or Sneakers or Andrew or Tristan or what's Pearl's first name? Oh, Pearl is her first name. Or Pearly Girl or Nuke or any of these guys. Until you heard one of them say genuine desire, you had no idea what genuine desire was. But then when you heard it, it sounded good, and now that's what I want. I want exactly what the marketing guy said. It's not actually what you want, because you don't even know what it means. And that's the point, too, about defining terms. What the fuck is genuine desire? Oh, genuine desire is where she wants to sleep with you for no reason other than she loves you as a person. It's like, women don't work like that. They don't love us for who we are on the inside. They love us ultimately for what we do on the outside. They love us for how we make them feel. It is a very detached form of genuine desire. So it makes no sense when you start defining terms. Drilling down, I'm going to save you guys like the 2 hours of conversation about how you get from here to there. I'll skip to the end. You want to skip to the good part? Yeah. Rob will call you a fig for saying genuine desire. Absolutely. Leave me out of this. You know what they want? Enthusiasm. Because it feels good. Dude. The idea, and this is going to be crass. Okay, look, if you're like a traditional Christian and you got very more, apologies now. If you got a girl that you're like having to try and push off of you right now because she's going very aggressive with oral, Like, that kind of shit really feels good as a guy. Dude, she's treating my dick like there's an antidote in it. What could make you feel like more of a man? And it is true. It does make you feel like a man because there's very few objective measures that we can make a man from. Sex and violence, ultimately. Sex and violence. Or what did Nietzsche call it? Danger and play? Same thing. Sex, violence, danger, play. Being able to hurt somebody and them not being able to stop you. And having a girl want to sleep with you without you having to do anything. Those are the two ultimate ideals. So yeah, genuine desire just means enthusiasm. So you want to do... Okay, so then you get, like, go way back to the beginning now. What is it you want? Oh, I want to get laid more. No, you don't. You want to manipulate your wife into showing enthusiasm in the bedroom with you on a bigger frequency than what you have now. That's ultimately what you want. And you had to go through 6 months of bullshit. 3 or 4 different complete pivots and excuses just to get to that one fact. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I want. All right. Now we're getting somewhere. What is adequately critical? What is being adequately critical? Null, pause here, €2 or €10 super chat. Thank you very much, sir. Can I have the Bruno so I can go to sleep? My friend, you will absolutely get the... I tell you what, I'm going to give you the Bruno and I'm going to give you the Murphy. Where is the Bruno? There she is. There she is.
Ryan Stone, another
It is just...
Oh my god.
If you're a young man, you need to figure out what you're trying to do with your life, you need to subscribe to this goddamn channel.
What the fuck?
Megan Fox with a dick, or Hulk Hogan with a pussy.
Mel time. It's Mel time.
Why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me?
Do you see that Waffle House there? There's murderers in there.
You have to conclude that Trump betrayed us.
socially retarded fact.
Seething.
Don't work with
He's a halfway decent looking guy, a nice smile, can be a gentleman, snarky as even in person, yet he blocks me and talks shit about me. Somebody find out their fucking real names for me.
That will never get old. That'll never get old. And here, because there's 3 $10 super chats, we're going full Murphy.
So the memes, they're very good. This is really, they've taken it.
True Alpha.
Named Ryan Stone.
It says, I asked Murphy about the article he wrote, cuckolding his wife. Clear up the cuck article. Clear up the cuck article.
Why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me?
If I wasn't prepared to literally impoverish his entire bloodline,
I am now concerned for my career.
And I still recommend clear up the cuck article.
You know what? Fuck you for bringing this up. Yeah. Fuck you. Heartfelt.
I'm not going to have those guys back on my channel again. Absolutely not.
Just use a little bit of fucking common sense.
It is just...
That's great. That's you should.
Fuck you.
Sorry, apologies.
Just keep going, dude. One foot in front of the other. Before you know it, this will all be in the rearview mirror. Fuck you.
I don't even know, man. I don't know. How do you not love this job? I'm actually... That's for you. Hopefully, have a good night rest. No, go to sleep. Soothing. We'll change this to ASMR just for you. I think that's what they do on the ASMR channels. They start shaving with whipped cream and shit on the microphones. Oh God, I forgot. How could you forget about that? I will remind you. It's actually got me inspired. I'm so obviously you know my newsletter on my Substack has been pivoting a lot off of just plain old sexual strategy, because for the most part I've said everything that needs to be said for the red pill. I still elaborate case studies and I show you it in practice, but for most part the theory stuff is over. I've switched over to storytelling. I do realize a lot of people don't know about all of this backstory. I am very interested in writing a like, you know, a Neil Strauss the game, like a history of the red pill kind of thing. How is it you know about the Jack Murphy stuff? What is this Horatio Troonblower thing? What about the convention that shall not be named? I'm like, there's so many wonderfully ridiculous stories. They're French and late. Like, oh man. Who was the chick that just says it is Oh, she is she was TikTok popular. I can't remember her name off the top of my head right now. But she went TikTok popular for she was dating this guy, and the guy left a voicemail on her thing about how he was a top tier man, and she just put him on blast on the internet. And I have a video on my Red Pilled Coffee series where I show like the bullshit on that, just the whole nonsense, how everybody in there is ridiculous, there's no heroes, blah blah blah. And it's just, she's been so funny. Even now, she's the epitome of boss babe cat lady millennial chick. Absolutely insane. Oh, I could have had a man, but I could have a marginally successful TikTok career on a local radio station. So she decided that route instead. Anyways, I enjoy it because she's just like, she's pretty enough to bring in the eyeballs, but it's also ludicrous enough to bring in the red pill guys. There was a Canadian one too that did that. She was like an OnlyFans chick, decent body, very old in the face, and she was just rude and vicious. I think she lives in Vancouver. She was a half native, half Irish or something. I don't know. She recently went, and the NDP, our socialists, had her on as like a collaboration thing to try and get Jagmeet Singh. But it's so funny because then as soon as they're like, wait a minute, I recognize this girl, and there was like videos of her sucking dick thrown everywhere, and I was like, I can't use this. She was also on an old Red Pilled Coffee, which was hilarious. I'm like, dude, I remember this chick. She was the one that boyfriend told her to quit OnlyFans, and so she broke his phone and dumped him. I was like, fair enough. And then she twerks in front of the mirror for 7 minutes. No, €10 super chat. You're the best. All right. So yeah, that's where we're going. Back to the topic. Actually, you know what? Yeah, back to the topic. So yeah, you see all that? So to sum it up, you got the future tense, you got the past tense, you got the present tense. Focusing on the present tense is a good thing. Focusing on the future just builds up a bunch of scenarios and neuroticism and anxiety that does nothing. Focusing on the past just either builds nostalgia as a placative thing, or resentment, which just allows you to get like feel good about, I'm the hero and they're the villains and fuck you guys. And even the way you protest against that line of thought kind of shows you which one you're in. You have the two types of men, you have the alpha fucks, you have the beta bucks, you have the lover, you have the provider. These two different types of guys have some issues navigating this stuff. So you have to ask, what do you want? And it can't be what marketers tell you, because marketers just fill your head with nonsense. They put a word around an emotion because an emotion will sell copy. You don't want that. Ryan should definitely write a history. So much has been lost, but he knows all kinds of obscure stuff. I guess. It doesn't feel obscure to me, though. That's the weirdest part. And there's already technically a history book. Oh, speaking of obscure stuff, I was talking with Jack Murphy in 2018, and we were in the chat, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to write a history book of this red pill stuff. I think it's worthwhile. So I sent him a link to Ian Ironwood's book, Manosphere, A Hope for Men. You mean like this one? He goes, oh. I was like, Jesus. Still gonna roll later. I'm like, dude, do these guys even know what the fuck they're doing? He goes, I think they're just here because it's popular right now. Guess he was right. Back to the thing. So yeah, you got to define terms. You got to define terms. What is it you actually want? And everybody always tries to avoid the big one. I want to get laid more. But then the problem is that's not what you want. That's what you think you want. That's what you're told you want. That's what pisses off the liberals to say you want. And you find out it goes from that, a very simple, visceral, limbic brain, basic man goal, into it devolves into, I want my wife to be more enthusiastic in bed more often. How can I manipulate her to get that way? Now you're at a point of honesty. Now we can have an honest, I don't even want to say discussion, because it's not about a discussion. It's an honest revelation about what it is that's realistic to want. Because that's the other thing. I can want anything. But some things just, I want a unicorn. Yeah, great. Shoot for the stars, sir. How about this? Unicorns don't exist. And in this case too, but being able to manipulate your wife into fucking like a porn star does not exist. I don't care if I'm friends with somebody. I don't care if I don't like them. I don't care if it's a different brand and you think I'm jealous. Getting your wife to fuck you, teaching your wife to be your slut, all of that shit is bullshit. Absolute marketing bullshit. And anybody who buys into it has, I'm not saying don't buy into it. I am saying be aware that you're being marketed too hard. And if you want to, dude, I love WWF. If you want to believe that Bret Hart is really going after the Macho Man over fucking nothing, that's on you. But at least go in knowing that. I choose to believe that. That's fine. Yeah, his book was older. That's the point. There's a lot that's happened in the last 10 years. So what is it you can do? And that's where you get to the real conversation. What can you do? Well, let's just define terms again, right? What is it you want? With the caveat that you cannot make somebody do anything. You cannot manipulate them into doing something. It is a fool's errand to try to do something. And if you try to manipulate somebody, you're going to do what's called overt manipulation, like a used car salesman. And people respond to that negatively. It's not that it doesn't work. It's that it actively causes the other person to rebel, do the opposite thing. Because fuck you, you can't tell me what to do, sir. I can't? No. Why not? It's fuck you, that's why. That's all you're going to get from it. So knowing that you cannot change how other people act, how other people respond, and what other people are going to do, what is it you want? And that's where you reach the start of what I would call the male action plan, the MAP, which unfortunately child diddlers have taken the term, so we can't use that anymore. I got to think of a new one. But until then, male action plan, I don't know. They used to call it the mindful... Small story. The male action plan was a concept that was coined by Athol Kay, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Long story short, he called it his wife, let his wife join the business, and then the title change over the years has been the perfect example of why you don't let women into this space. It went from male action plan, man action planning. Such great words. No fat on that at all. No fat on that cut. It turned into the male attraction plan. So what did it get rid of? Action. No, we're just going to be attractive. Dance for me, monkey. And then it went from that to the mindful attraction plan. So in a span of a short couple years, letting his wife run things, they managed to remove the man, remove the action. All that was left was plan. You know what a plan is? Bullshit, that's what. Dogwalker's my favorite. Tom, you're my favorite, sir. You're my favorite. Dogwalker's an amazing book. In fact, we're going to take a small break on this one. Where did I put that damn thing? Oh, wrong one.
Hi, I'm Kurt Vonnegut. I'm looking for Ryan Stone.
What's that? Fuck me. Kurt, you read lips. Fuck you!
How do you not love that shit? It's a great book, by the way. If you haven't read it yet, it's contemporary fiction for men. I'd argue probably the only contemporary fiction for men worth reading. There was 2 books that I saw that come out in the same year that attempted it, and I'm not going to shit on the authors there because they're probably nice people. One was called The Expat, and the other one, I can't remember what the name was. Both of them were like a neurotic Redditor's take on like a Delicious Tacos book. I didn't like it. And the X-Pac, he's the serious best hacker ever, but he just wants... I'm like, whatever. Do I really need to see another Mary Sue? Not really. Lasers or no lasers. You'd be surprised how difficult it is to make a really good book that has no lasers in it. But I managed to figure out the key. There is a system. There is a small, hidden cabal of people that let you know the secret. And they inferred that wisdom onto me, and I passed it on to you for $9.99 or $19.99 for paperback, which I would strongly suggest. If you're going to get it, grab the paperback. The reading user experience is so much better. It's designed to be easy to read, relaxing. No drudgery about it whatsoever, and it has a vibe about it. It's a coffee table book. You put it on the coffee table. It's this nice pulpy book, and then some girls over like, what is that? What the hell is that? And then they pick it up, like, holy shit, what have I stumbled onto? It's like Bukowski almost. Bukowski's been around for 50 years, so he's got that front lead, but I think it can compete in the long term. Anyways, so I see you guys talking about ultimatums here, and I'm gonna take it a different direction. We're still getting back to what it is you want. Now, most guys have never asked. I talked to before about how a lot of guys broke into tears. One of the things I noticed was just asking them, like, what is it you want, knowing all these things. And that was the part that tended to be one of the hardest parts for them. What is it you want? And then the guy's like, I don't know. Ultimately, that's what most. Yeah, think about that right now. What is it you want, knowing that you cannot change the people around you? And try not to say whatever some marketing guy. Get paid, get laid, ejaculate. Like, no. Like, what do you actually want? It's a very difficult question. It's a very difficult question. Even in your head, you're thinking it in your head, and you have a perfect answer. Now try to articulate it. Try to write it down. It gets a lot harder. So I'm not going to begrudge a guy for not knowing us for going through this whole thing. We all go through the same process. So clearly it's endemic. So yeah, and what do you want? And then a lot of guys learn, okay, I don't know what I want. And we can work with that. Because we have like a great system. All right, so let's break down what you don't want. This is where adequately critical comes in. If you want to be adequately critical. What is it you don't want? Surprisingly an easier question to come up with. What is it you don't want? I don't want duty sex. I don't want a wife who turns me down all the time. I don't want to get divorced and lose access to my kids and get broke. And like, everybody has a very crystal. If you do this as an experiment now think about what you don't want. I bet you guys can come up with a shopping list in under 30 seconds. It's amazingly easy. Great. So let's focus on the things you don't want. How do we avoid those things? Or how do you avoid those things? I'm not avoiding them. They're not my things. And then work from there. We'll pick from what's left. So it narrows down your options. And I've often talked about how narrowing your options is an amazing way to build better ideas, better creativity, better output, better work. Small anecdote, I've told it before, I'm telling it again. Art class. I was in my painting class first year in art school. And the teacher there, great guy, who was also my art history teacher, loved native Iroquois art. And not art. Are you even allowed to say anymore? But he's like, all right, so he taught us how to put canvas and paintings together and build a thing. And he's like, all right, now paint something for me. And we had a 2-hour lab to paint something. And it took like an hour for people to start putting paint on the brush. And everybody ended up with the same thing. It was either an eyeball, a big eyeball, a horse if you were a girl, or a car if you were a guy. And the painting sucked, and they were all just like, eh. And he goes, all right, no, put those aside. And then next week, he's like, all right, I can't remember specifically, but he was like, I want an impressionist piece done with this color scheme, this style of this. Very, very narrow criteria. And you know what happened? Like, first off, everybody started painting after like 15 minutes of sketching. So way faster start. And everybody's art had like a wider diversity to it. So yeah, restriction is what we kind of need in order to thrive. You'd be surprised. Oh, I hate restricting options. No, you need to restrict options. I am telling you right now. Restricted options are some of the best ways for you to get out some of the most prolific stuff you can ever do. Yeah, and Matt's here in chat with, I have a short-term answer. They're all going to be short-term answers. There is no overarching lifelong goal. And that's fine. It's a Taoist thing to say. You want what you want until you no longer want it, and then you'll want something else. And that's okay. That's exactly what you're supposed to do. Wanting to get laid is only a goal until you get laid. Wanting to get married is only a goal until you have a wife. Wanting a family is only a goal until you have the fucking family. Wanting to get away from your family is only a goal until you get divorced. Like, that's just how things work. We're always in a state of want. Well, you need to be past want. No, you don't need to be past want. Just accept it. Flow through it like a river. I'll want things, and then I'll want other things, and we'll move on. Right? So yeah, what is it you don't want? Well, I don't want to have duty sex. Okay, well, we got things for that. I've brought those up often too. The two strategies were caveman and this isn't working out for me. I've wrote about those in Dread. I talk about those frequently on I call it the Patreon, but I got to come up with a better name for it. The Praxeology Q&A. I'm doing that on Substack now. The migration is almost complete, by the way. So for Patreon supporters, you're already comped in there for the next couple months, and then we're going to do a switch over once I get the majority of people in there, which will be nice. But if you are rejoining, don't join the Patreon. Just go straight to the Substack, because that's where it's going to be ultimately anyway. So yeah. And what's caveman? Well, if you're just going to lay there and take it, just treat it like you're jerking off. Treat it like a sex doll. Whatever. Get yours, get out. Alternatively, don't accept bad sex. That's straight out of like old Athol K stuff. I think even Glover had that in his. I could be mistaken though. Just get up, zip up. You know what? It's fine. You're not mad. You're not angry. You're not blaming her. It's just, I'm just not doing piss poor performance. It's not. You're not going to talk about it. We don't need to have we don't need to have a conversation. There was no conversation to be had. Just not doing it. However you want to process, that's on you, right? And usually from like one or the other or both of these, you tend to get a lot of feedback. Honest feedback. What is it I'm trying to do? Well, I'm trying not to get duty sex. Okay, so what happens when you do caveman? What happens when you just get up and it's not working out for you? Well, these things happen. All right, so what does that tell you about your goal? Well, she's not sexually attracted to me. Or she is. She was just so used to having such low expectations that she could phone it in and still feel good enough. Like, all right, well, you've established that. You're getting the start of boundaries and expectations and adequately critical self-assessment. If it's desire, well, geez, maybe it's because you're fat. Maybe it's because you look like a hobo. Maybe it's because you dress like a bitch. Maybe it's because your game is ridiculous. You're not sexually attractive or charming in any way. Not even a bad thing, because those can be fixed. Those can be worked on. Those can be developed. That's great. There is a very clear roadmap. Once you get into the whole, I have a goal, and now the self-improvement part kicks in, there is an unending list of marketing gurus, coaches, consultants, ex-cons, and fucking grifters there to feed you all manner of the same placated solutions regurgitated in their own personal form for Gumroad at $97.97. Fill your boots, sir. Fill your boots. Free gender $2 super chat. Did you happen to see Donovan Sharp's secret wedding? I was not invited, although I also never asked, but I was aware. I did not watch it because I'm told that it was all influencers there. Well, what would you call an influencer if they can't influence shit? What's the word for that? I need a word for that, because I hate calling a lot of the red pill guys influencers because they ain't influencing shit. Yeah. So that was it. And I was like, it's just... And this is why I always laugh. And so we're doing the side thing on this one. I always laugh when I see the guys, never get married, don't get married. I'm like, why are you telling people what to do? How does that make you any different than the feminists you shit on that tell men what to do? Well, yeah, it's like, you don't have to replace one sycophant demagogue with another demagogue. You don't have to be the demagogue. You don't have to tell people what to do. You can just be honest. Like, what? Marriage is a bad deal for men. Marriage is not a good thing for men. You can just say that. Let that lie, because that is an accurate statement. Marriage is not a good deal for men. Divorce is a bad deal for men. You get nothing out of a marriage you don't get out of a very solid long-term relationship. But they always have to take it that one bit further by telling you what to do, right? Which is weird, because if you're from a cabal of red-pilled influencers that are telling you you cannot manipulate people, you can't tell people what to do, you can only control yourself, but don't get married. It's like, you're sending a conflicting message here. Is it any wonder that people think we're retarded? I think we're retarded, and I'm in the middle of it. Just saying. Free gender, $2. If you can't influence, then you're a clout swallower. Swallower, it's got, like, I know what you're doing there with, like, the cunnilingus inference, and it's like, I don't know. I'm gonna workshop that. Let me know in the chat if you guys come up with a good one. Swallower is the best we got so far, but I know there's something that's more punchy, you know? More punchy. Talking heads, maybe, but there's a lot of the times it's just like, where's the heads? There's one head here. One in the chat if you're targeted. So talking heads is actually closer, but we're not there yet. I know we'll get it. You'll know it. You'll see it and you'll read it. Be like, yeah, that's the one. That's the one that pops. Where was I on this one before we ended up on the whole Donovan Sharp wedding thing? Oh, yeah, the honesty. And then you get this list of self-actualization stuff. Oh, just go and get at it. All right. Of course, a lot of guys end up, and this is one of those parts where they still hold on to that thing. No, if I just do this stuff right, then the girl will do what I want. It's still manipulation, even though they think it's self-improvement. It's just self-improvement with a veneer of plausible deniability, which is such a chick thing to do. Such a chick thing to do. And that's when you get the singing, dancing, 2-year monkey improvement program, which I have written about extensively in Frame and possibly Dread. I am blending those 2 books together, so I'm just going to say the praxeology books from now on, because I keep fumbling which one is which. And that's when the girl rejects the covert contract. No, I'm still not going to pop my knees riding you. It's like, ah, damn it. Turns out I was trying to manipulate her. You have that little existential crisis. And you'll go one of 2 directions. You'll do the anti-red pill thing, which a lot of guys do. Tried it, fucked it up on my own volition. Didn't work. Therefore, it's your guys' fault, not mine. And there is a deceptively large amount of guys who did that. I did what you said and nothing changed. It's like you didn't think it through. You went Rambo. You just did it because somebody on the internet told you to. It didn't have the exact effect that you were expecting that nobody promised, and now it's everybody else's fault but your own. You have not done and you have not learned shit. You haven't left. You were never here. And then the alternative one is, all right, maybe I need to come at this again properly. All right, 3rd kick at the can. What do I want? Knowing that I cannot change other people's things, and since I don't have an answer for that, what is it I don't want, and how can I remove that from my life? And you get there and you go through this stuff, and it's all great. What is adequately critical of this? Again, it's all about defining terms. It's all about defining terms. Getting laid. All right. Well, is the issue that my wife won't lay me? Or is the issue that no women will lay me? And then you have catch and release. Catch and release is basically just running game on the girls that you have opportunities around. And you make yourself a line in the sand. It's like, anything past this, I'm not comfortable with. I'd consider it cheating. Not prepared to go there yet. That's fine. Everything before this is fine. My old rule was nothing down the throat, nothing up the skirt. It's clean. It's simple. Anything before that line, I'm perfectly okay with. Yeah. Well, how dare you talk to her and flirt? It's like I flirt with everybody. Whatever. So guys start to get there and they realize, yo, geez, it's easy. Other girls could do this. Other girls are willing to do this. And then they get home, and a lot of it is just like, okay, so, you have options. Well, what do I do with these options? Well, how would you live if your wife wasn't there? It's a good question. What would I do if she wasn't here? Like, well, do that. Yeah, but she's supposed to do... It doesn't matter what she's supposed to do. It doesn't matter what splitting up of the chores. It doesn't matter if a stay-at-home mom is there to take care of the kids and you're there to work. How would you live if she wasn't there? Because ultimately, if this doesn't work, you're probably going to leave. So you're going to have to do this anyway. You might as well practice it now to see what kind of lifestyle is in store for you so you can make a more informed decision. So guys, find that out, right? I'll get the kids ready for school. I'll prep meals for the week. I'll do all this stuff. And then they start to find out. Archwinger had a great essay on this one. I just did the most difficult job in the world and it took me 3 hours. And he realized, oh my God, the logistics aren't actually that difficult if you have good time management skills. For his ex-wife, he was finding out that her crisis of motherhood was mostly just the fact that she was a fucking spaz, loved to catastrophize everything, had zero ability to plan, and loved to be the victim. And he's like, dude, this is easy. I'm a lawyer during the day. I can handle this shit in my sleep. And that was something that other guys started to discover too. It's like, oh, well, it's as it goes on, like, the logistics of doing this stuff, it's you lose some free time, but you would be surprised how little free time you lost versus how much you expect to lose. It's the same as a divorce. Everybody's expecting to have to live in a van by the river because they're financially destitute. They go through their divorce and they're like, dude, even after I have to pay child support, after I had to lose this and this and this, and after all these payments, I have more disposable income every month. Cheaper to keep her was a lie. And you're like, yeah. And so slowly but surely, guys start to build up this self-worth. And they start to discover what they want. And the reason that they couldn't do it before is because they didn't have the abundance of options to even think on those terms. Free Gender, $10 super chat. Thank you very much, sir. It would not surprise me if Jordan Peterson's wife divorced her, him, saying he covert contracted me in the bedroom for 20 years and it's time to break free from the graping. Oh, Jesus Christ. Only reason I don't think so is because she just survived cancer. I think she kind of needs him more than he needs her at this point. But hey, anything's possible. Anything's possible. A victim girlfriend's a formula for chaos. Dude, that's just codes for women. All women are like that. All women need to catastrophize. That's why a lot of it is just like a very strong skill for a guy is learning how not to roll his eyes. Not to roll his eyes when he wants to. It's just, They smell nice, they look good. I want a feminine woman. Well, you're going to put up with feminine woman stuff. They're going to cry, they're going to catastrophize, they're going to play the victim. Well, I said I wanted a woman. I didn't mean I wanted all of woman. Well, you don't get to pick and choose. You take the whole kit and caboodle, man. She has to put up with you farting and burping while you're acting very masculine. So this is her farting and burping in their cases, like acting like a spaz. Man, you still haven't crossed 27,000 subscribers? What the hell? I don't know what to tell you. I've been criminally undervalued for years. In fact, the motto of this channel, Ryan Stone, criminally undervalued. I don't know what to tell you. Pretty sure there's somebody who's got their finger on the scale there. Especially since Orion, the movie channel, is taken off right now. And it'll probably outdo this channel within the year. Which is absolutely funny. Null, 10 euro super chat. Everything is your fault. I cannot sleep. Do not get smart. It's your fault. I read you 2 lullabies. I gave you exactly what you wanted. I even did some ASMR into the microphone. I did all of this. So if you can't sleep, it's your fucking fault. All right, enough of that. Somebody right now probably got the heebie-jeebies from that. And I don't want to have anybody. And somebody else got an erection. And I was like, I don't want to go there with you guys. Don't want to go there with you guys. Building abundance. You're building abundance. You're building a measure of self-worth. And it's all little victories piling on top of each other. And it ultimately gets to a certain place. There'll be one of 2 scenarios. And I've seen both play out with the private community, with the workshop group. First one, they're in a situation, no strings attached, sex with a girl that's younger, with a girl that's hotter, completely untraceable, no chance of getting caught, no guilt about this, no social ramifications. It's just free, cheap, easy sex. And then a guy is sitting there realizing, oh my God, I have to make that decision now. What is it I want? I've seen it go both ways. Some guys are like, you know what? Thanks, I gotta go. And they take off. They're like, yeah, at this point, they're over the moon. I never, ever have to accept less sexually than I think I want, because I know I can do it. It's not that I think I can do it. It's not that I want to do it. It's like they know. There is no more of a visceral way than having to push a girl off. You have to reject a girl that in any other situation you would want. They come home as a different man. They came home as Chad. It's the Odyssey, and they just murked every guy in the cathedral or the temple or whatever they call it. Now, of course, some guys are like, yeah, fuck it. They go and they do it. They get it out of their system. They're like, it's just sex. And they come home as a different man. And they realize, I'm not going to get twisted up and all hell bent over this. She gets first crack at my libido. And I'm going to go do my thing. And I'm going to come home. I'm going to be the exact same dad and husband I always was. But when I got the itch, if she's not going to scratch it, I'll figure something out. They come home as a new man. Surprisingly enough, in both of those scenarios, the women start acting better. Because women are reactive. And it's one of those other red pills they never tell you, is that the women are like water, and they take the shape of the container they're put in. And as a guy, you're the container. That's the one scenario. And then the other scenario is a bit more embittered, but still gets you to the same place. Some guys are sitting there, kids are in bed. All the chores are done. The place is clean. He's prepping food for the next weekend. Looks over. Wife's just sitting there in her pajamas, fingering her phone, eating candy, downing 700 calories of Starbucks. And he's just like, ugh, I'm just fucking done. And then he ends up, it's not even resentment. It's kind of like, it's the equivalent of if you've ever had that lazy stoner teenager that never makes something of his life, where the dad decides, yeah, at 18, I'm kicking him out of the house. This is bullshit. Like that moment where you're just fucking over it. And that man is changed. He is different. There is zero validation seeking in his behavior. There is zero covert contracts in his actions. He is honest. He is direct. He is clear. He does not put up with bullshit. It is an amazing transformation. He is King Odysseus coming back. And he just passed his wife's thing where he has to shoot the arrow through the axe heads or whatever. It's fucking magnificent. Magnificent. Yeah. And we can sit here and I try not to pontificate like natty born ravers. It's the indifference that they notice. There may be something that they notice, but again, I just told you at the beginning of this episode about future tense neuroticism and how it is not a helpful thing. That's exactly what I'm getting at here. Well, why is it that this stuff is working? Well, let's analyze this, and is it this? Is it this? Even if I get it right, it doesn't fucking matter. And the more I talk about it, the more it distracts people from what's focused. It's literally that Bruce Lee line about a finger pointing to the moon. Don't focus on the finger or you're going to miss all the heavenly glory. That's exactly what it is. Well, the reason she's responding well to you is because shut up. Focus. Focus, you're getting blown in the closet. Focus. Pay attention to what's going on right now. You know? Yeah. And it's one of the few rewarding things about being in this space, because I'm gonna be real with you guys. Pause. I hate, and I mean I hate, YouTube red pill influencers. With their commie babble and their contradictory messaging and their need to be famous. This is a extremely career limiting profession, and I'm tired of telling people it's not. Every HR person will see these videos and be like, maybe not. Every good, solid, respectable brand is like, yeah, no. You are closing off opportunities to work with people. You're closing off opportunities to work in industries. The one benefit I get from this is once in a blue moon every quarter, one guy hits one of these epiphany moments, turns everything around, completely transforms himself or reinvents himself or becomes again that Chad, destroyer of worlds. He starts thinking in the platitudes, but he actually understands them now as opposed to just repeating them. It is a rewarding experience. It is why when I was teaching as an instructor in fleet school, it was probably the most rewarding military experience. And that includes the deployment. That includes all the rigmarole, the accoutrements, the accolades, all that stuff. No. The day that my students threatened to beat the shit out of a superior officer because he was talking shit about me in the classroom when I was sick, I'd say top 10 experience. Absolutely. Before I studied your work, I had no idea how to read context. Well, you do now, so that's good. Anyways, let's change the pace here. Let's have a little bit of fun. Oh, you know what? I know what we're gonna do. There's a new video coming out Sunday on Orion 2. Let's pull it up. Where did I call it? There it is. There it is.
I won't scream.
I know.
Do you like spy thrillers? Do you like watching America win the Cold War? Do you like watching an American go up against the CIA and win? Do you want to watch a guy fight for his life and still find time to sleep with his hostage old school style, assassins, and a good time?
Have I roughed you up?
Yes! What are you doing in my house? Going through all my
Have
stuff.
I raped you?
The night is young.
Well, I have the movie for you. In a world where America had peaked, the gold standard was alive and well, and we still believed that showing people the truth was the way to solve America's problems. One man fights for what he believes in.
What the f?
Boom! Storytelling as it was meant to be. Stories perfectly told. A movie that perfected the genre so well that when they revisited it 30 years later, even when they ripped it off because Hollywood doesn't have new ideas, the movie still slapped. In the age of peak Hollywood genre, a jazz pianist turned working stiff director created the greatest spy espionage thriller of the 1970s. If Dirty Harry walked so Lethal Weapon could run, then this movie walked so The Firm could run, so The Bourne Identity could fly. He created Americana so good that 50 years later, the movie got better, while America couldn't keep up. Robert Redford, the Silent Generation's Brad Pitt, teamed up to create a spy thriller so good that you swear it was propaganda. It's the pinnacle of movies. If you like movies with action, reveals, mystery, banter, without fluff, millennial snark, or diversity, this is the movie for you. It's the pinnacle of movies. It's the peak of espionage. It's gratuitous nudity for no reason other than it's awesome. It's good. In fact, it's better than good. It's 3 Days of the Condor, 1975.
How old is Ty Cobb? Saw 3 Days of the Condor in the theater at 11 years old. That's a senior Gen Xer in the audience we have there, sir. This movie's older than me. Anyways, that's going to be out on Sunday. It's good. I've moved away from anime for a bit. I will probably come back at some point. The views were getting really good, and I was like, oh, if I keep going down this line, it's going to turn into an anime review channel. I don't want to go there. It's a storytelling channel. Gonzo reviews first and foremost. So I'm like, yeah. Love that music. Deceptively hard. So like for all the movies, what I try to do is for the soundtrack that I use, I have Epidemic Sound, there's the YouTube library, but there's always the OST soundtrack, and it's very difficult to find a song that matches the tone and vibe. So for 3 Days of the Condor, their soundtrack is actually very similar to Enter the Dragon. Remember Enter the Dragon's tune? Or another good example was not Enter the Dragon. Was it Chinese Connection? Yeah. Dun, 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 dun. I think it was Enter the Dragon, and it was also Chinese Connection. Or Fist of Fury, depending on where you're from. They have like this 70s psychedelic funk soundtrack, which is like, that's a spy thriller. Why would you have that? Why would you not have ominous music? I'm not like, no, it makes it. It makes it. The funk, the psychedelic funk kind of adds an ambiance to it. It doesn't actually, like, because the movie is good enough that it doesn't need to fill your head with dread with the leitmotif. It's like, no, we're going to put some funky 1970s stuff in there. But the plot and the story and the characters, they carry you through on the tone. It's like the attractive guy who wears nerd glasses, basically. I came to YouTube to play Sinatra's I Get a Kick Out of You and caught Ryan live instead. Hey! Rare Camellia. Was it you? When I was visiting Clary in Nevada, I think, was it you that called and texted him or whatever? He said the kind words that you passed on. I'm trying not to like say exactly what we're talking about, but yeah, if so, that was awesome. It was neat. He showed me your texts. You think you could defeat me with your Wu-Tang sword? On guard. Sing, sing, sing. You know the Wu-Tang has a YouTube channel? And they bought a lot of the old Golden Harvest IP. And so every week they release a new 1960s and 70s and early 80s kung fu movie. And they've got some good ones. And they have all like it's like pulp. It's awesome. Free Gender, $5 heartfelt super chat. Thank you very much, sir. Reading your 8th book now. He Who Swallowed the Sun. What? Absolutely amazing. It's about a blue pill millionaire who wakes up one day and realizes he's surprised. Oh! I get it. He Who Swallowed the Sun. What the hell is this? The Men Who Swallowed the Sun. Is that the one you're talking about? I don't think so. I don't think that's the one. Is there another one? All right, never mind. I don't know what you're talking about then. Okay, that was you. Oh, okay, good. It was good to hear. It was good to hear from you. Actually, it started a huge argument between us. I think that was the day we were camping or hiking that you were talking to him. And it was, I think it was because he was taking photos of the hike and then putting them up on social media, and then all of a sudden started getting calls. Oh yeah, that was it. We were all getting calls, and I'm like, bro, Aaron, what the fuck are you doing? He goes, what are you talking about? You're at the hiking, you got to show this stuff off. You got to do it for work, right? Now it's a business expense. I'm like, dude. And so I had to give him like an OPSEC speech. Here's the problem. You need to delay the release of this stuff. And I brought up there's a 1 in a million chance that somebody out there wants to murder us. 1 in a million. But there's 350 million Americans. Do you really want to play the odds that one of those guys just happens to know where we are, happens to be close enough, and happens to see your social media? Oh, well, that's stupid. I'm like, yeah, there's hundreds of little decisions like this. And yeah, the risk, very unlikely somebody's going to try and make us into a skin suit or throw us off the cliff. But you delay these social media releases for 2 hours, and the risk drops to 0 at no cost to you. And there is no chance that, oh, these guys are hiking at 10 in the morning was awesome. And, oh, these guys are hiking at 2 in the afternoon is not awesome. So just fucking slow it down. So yeah, your text was how I got to explain to him how to be safe with his own online branding. I still don't think he believed me. And I have to catch one of his live streams. I don't think he used that camera I gave him either. I'm going to be very irritated. Because it's not that big either. The cameras are only the size of a GoPro, the one I gave him. But the one he's got is like the size of that's the size of like your thumb. Yeah, exactly. Also, Cappy's not home can rob his place easier. There's so many things. And I learned this from the convention that shall not be named. That New York Times reporter, Nellie Bowles, was going to do a story about how toxic masculinity is. And if you don't believe that she was going to do a hit piece, just watch how they recovered Alpha Male Con. Remember that? The Mormon Alpha Male Convention? Oh, dude. It was a laugh riot when the news reporters got a hold of it. And it's like all these guys are posting in social media. I'm at the cigar bar smoking like a real man because real men suck on tobacco dick. And I'm like, I was talking with Ed Lattimore at the time, and I think Rollo was at the table talking with Jack Murphy's girl, who, it was weird. Like, she seemed, like, I talked to her, and she just seemed rather cold and distant. But everybody else is like, oh no, she's nice, and she's warm, and she's that, and whatever. I'm like, all right, fair enough. But, Natty, I'll put a pin in that one, I'll get there. Anyways, Ned and I were like, yeah, dude, if they just sent this in the morning, we didn't have to worry about any of this stuff. Well, yeah, but what if they need to know we're there that night? It's like nobody's sitting on their phones 9 o'clock at night, Eastern Standard Time on a Saturday, thinking, I wonder what Ivan Throne is up to. Nobody's thinking that. And if they are thinking that, they'll think the same thing fucking Sunday morning. It's Sunday morning, 9 o'clock. Last night at this place that you can no longer find me at. What a wonderful thing. Yeah, my presence is due to the Rollo, Cappy, then Ryan, then Let 'em Burn, leaps and bounds. Look at that. Oh my god, you know what this means? Ty Cobb, this means that the Rich Rollo Ryan pipeline is now the Rich Rollo Ryan Rurb pipeline. Where eventually all roads lead to Rob rambling while drunk on a podcast. Yelling at Nick for one reason or another. Alright, so Natty Born Raver is asking, what about the Netflix show Adolescence? Who cares? I don't watch new movies anymore. And I wish I could say it's because new movies are just thinly veiled propaganda, because they're not thinly veiled. And I wish I could say it was because new TV series exist just to create media buzz and not actually entertain me on a story level, because they absolutely do. Back in the day, films were just great. They wanted to entertain you. TV shows were wonderful. They just wanted to entertain you. And it's never coming back. It's never coming back. That's why I don't do new movies anymore. Look at that. I'm getting good at that speech, man. If I could get like Razor Fist level of rehearsed with the format of the Orion videos, oh dude, output would just go through the roof. I've got 100 years of films. I'll start picking obscure shit like 1930s Metropolis, 1897's The Adventures of Prince Ahmed. I'm gonna go hard. But yeah, if you guys notice, it's a very serialized format, which I like doing for Orion, and I'm hoping it doesn't ruin the experience now that I've explained it. It starts off, I can't watch new movies anymore. It's kind of like a resignation. It's like, look, nothing good has come out of the last 10 years, and I'm okay with that. And then I'm like, it's not nostalgia. It's not some resentment over woke feminism or some bullshit like that. They were just better. And then I'm like, this film does everything so well. And it's every film I've picked so far and everything I've done, it picks some part of storytelling and does it better than its contemporaries did and the current movies do. And then usually I'll bring up, and one thing I always look for, if I can find the writers and the directors and the actors did something cool before they became actors. Like if I could find a Korean War vet, a World War II vet that ended up making movies, and it's like, I've noticed this too, all the best movies are made from people who Hollywood was a second career. Coming out of World War II, you would have been one of the best directors ever. Being trained by that director would make you one of the best directors ever. Good example, Dirty Harry. The director of Dirty Harry, if I'm not mistaken, was a World War II vet, made a huge amount of films, taught Eastwood everything he knew about directing. And now you watch an Eastwood film right now, and they're like, these are good. He was trained by them. Predator. The guy from Predator trained the cast and crew for I Come in Peace. And that's why I Come in Peace is so goddamn good. Yeah, Christopher Lee, prime example. Good example. He was a spy that stabbed commies and Nazis. Like, dude, of course he could do Isildur. Speeches and stuff. And I always try to throw those in. And then I do a pause. And I just hate. And it's one of those things, the purpose of this is to differentiate yourself. Because if you guys, I don't know if you know this, but there is a lot of YouTube movie review channels. Everybody is trying to be Red Letter Media with the video essays. BreadTubers have basically ripped off the video essay format because Red Letter Media pioneered that. And you're never going to be a better Red Letter Media than Red Letter Media. They are exceptionally self-aware, so they're never going to end up being, oh, they used to be good, but now they're just old guys talking about movies. The latest video they did is literally old guys talk about a 50-year-old movie. You can't beat them on their terms. And so for me, I'm like, yeah, I can't stand this shit. And I've noticed there's a couple themes of videos. There's literally communists, wannabe champagne socialists, who use the movie as a springboard to pontificate about their college degree and how much they hate their dad. And that's absolutely true. There is video nerds that tend to be more focused on the box art quality than they are of the actual fucking movie that they bought. And for some reason, Quentin Tarantino, he has a review interview out for just about every movie that's any good. Quentin Tarantino's 15-year speech on 3 Days of the Condor or whatever. And so I'm like, oh, it's perfect. It's such easy fodder. And the commies are great because there's always some asshole in the comments who's like, wow, not a good look. Insert wallet text. I'm like, posting that screenshot. Found another one, boys. You know how you can find a communist in your chat? Don't worry, they'll tell you. The catchphrases of Dirty Harry are in the mind of, forgot his name, rats. Do you feel lucky? Callahan. Inspector Callahan. But that's the thing I liked about it too. And I'm not going to turn this into an Orion channel rant. If I'm going to do that, I'm going to do the podcast on... Actually, you know what? Maybe we should do that. Tell you what I'm going to do. Let's, but then I'm going to interrupt Rule 0. I don't want to go that route. Maybe I'll do another one. Whatever. I'd argue there's a few other reviewers that are up to snuff. Brad Jones, probably one of the last few, transferred away from that. Never heard of him. Yeah, and I'm not here to like say everybody's crap and I'm great. I mean, marketing-wise, I'm going to say that because you have to say that. Why would I like you if you're not the greatest? Exactly, I am the fucking greatest. Anyways, then I'll do a thing about the characters and like a brief synopsis of the character arcs, or if they don't have a character arc, something that makes that unique and how it works. I'll have a thing on either setups and payoffs, callbacks, reveals. Those are usually like the big three things that you kind of use that you pepper in throughout a story to give it like a structure. And then a plot synopsis. And then I'll end it off with like a nice heartfelt like hand job to the way things used to be and why they did it well. And it doesn't even matter. Like it can be Dirty Harry, an action schlock satirical thing. It could be 3 Days of the Condor, an espionage spy piece. It could be Macross Plus, an anime romantic melodrama with mechanized robots. It could be Ghost in the Shell, a philosophical visual cavalcade of color and cacophony of sound. It could be a British sexploitation sci-fi comedy romp. They're all good in their own ways. They're all great in their own ways, and there's like I try to add an appreciation. I don't think ultimately it would work if I didn't like it. Like, you can't phone it in. Jeremy from The Quartering taught me that. You can only shit on Kathleen Kennedy so much as Critical Drinker until people kind of catch on that he doesn't really care. There's no way he's this angry all the time. It's just an act. And I think ultimately, audience, I'm hoping anyway, I'm banking on an audience being smart enough to be like, I want to watch somebody enjoy something. Because shitting on feminist Kathleen Kennedy, and like, it's... If I wanted to watch somebody get angry, I would just yell at my kids, Random Anime Tinbit. Windbreaker is pretty solid new series. Well, that's good to know. I might actually have to watch something new. Would you do a movie review with Chrissy Mayer or Snarky J? I don't know Snarky J. Chrissy, for sure. Chrissy... I will admit, I actually had more fun with her off camera before we had our interview or podcast or whatever you want to call it than after. Because before, we had like a nice, funny, honest and it was just, like, she brought up, there was this one thing that she noticed that she just fucking hated, and I somehow triggered it. And it was guys that used to date comedian girls, but they didn't date them because they liked the girls. They dated them because then they felt like they were funny. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? She goes, yeah, they'll date comedian girls because then they get to sit at the table with the comedians and then they get to pretend like they're a comedian. I'm like, that's fucking brutal. She goes, I know, fuck me. It's like, probably the funniest thing I've ever heard out of a comedian in the history of comedy, which sucks because I really liked Live on the Sunset Strip from Richard Pryor, and I loved Raw from Eddie Murphy. And I was a huge fan of Patrice O'Neal's Elephant in the Room. But yeah, that line about the guys dating girls to pretend to be funnier, fuck, man, did me in. Did me in. Sam Kinison didn't do it for me, man. Ty Cobb's talking about Sam Kinison. If you guys don't know who that is, if you ever watched the movie Back to School, he's the one that was yelling at Mellon about the Vietnam. He was an 80s comic, and the 80s was a product of its time. I put him in the same category, and you're going to hate this, as Andrew Dice Clay, as Gallagher, as Yakov Smirnoff, all Sam Kinison. They're all the same type of comedian. They were a very repressed, fundamentalist, like Puritan culture out of the 80s, and the rebellion of the Gen Xers was to like rebel against it. And he was a preacher. Sam Kinison was like I think a Catholic or an evangelical preacher training. And he rebelled against the church. So he took his same fire and brimstone speech and made it edgy and stuff like that. But you watch it now and the jokes just don't land. Like, they're not funny. You can tell it's funny because it was subversive, but not funny because it was funny. And I noticed the same thing from Andrew Dice Clay. He's like, hey, vaginas, Jan gestures, Italian. Am I right? And you're like, I don't really like this. Or Yakov Smirnoff, you know what sucks? Communism. How about the country? And you're like, Jesus fuck, what the hell was wrong with us in the 80s? And that's why I prefer the 70s stuff. Like, when you watch Richard Pryor Live on the Sunset Strip, it is still funny to this day. The man going to Africa and finding out he's not really black. They're like, yeah, they don't think I'm black over there. Or the story about how he had to work in a mafia club and the guys were making fun of him. Or Delirious, when you hear like, or Raw. Delirious didn't quite do it for me. The whole Mr. T was like, most of his jokes were, hey, everybody's a homosexual. Isn't that funny? I'm like, yeah. Raw was a bit better at that, though. Making fun of like Mr. T. But it wasn't Mr. T. Imagine Mr. T was gay. He was like, so Mr. T found out I made a joke about him being gay, and now he wants to kill me. So I do some Jedi mind tricks. And I was like, I found that shit hilarious. Elephant in the Room, absolutely funny, because he's just like, and he might in the next 10 years end up being one of those guys that's a product of his time, same way Sam Kinison is, where it was funny at the time because it was things that you weren't supposed to say, and he was saying it openly but making it clever. Will it still be funny in 2034? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Or old Bill Burr. Anything before the Red Rock, I think, is a good Bill Burr sketch. I don't know. I've seen the rumors about him and his family life, and I don't want to believe it, but he keeps going on camera and convincing me of it. And I'm like, just go do more Star Wars. Stop doing comedy. Eddie Murphy learned that. He's like, dude, I got to stop doing stand-up because I'm doing too much Shrek shit right now. I can't go back to dick jokes. It's not going to be the same. Was raised on Cosby and Carlin albums. Thank God for Goofy Parents. You know what's funny? I've never actually heard a comedy special from Cosby. I think I heard one bit once, which is weird because you think I would have. Carlin? I treat Carlin the same way I treat Bob Marley. I think everybody has a phase. You know the phase in college where you start listening to reggae? Like that phase? Or the phase where you decide to play Wonderwall on your guitar at a campfire? The phase where Carlin's saying, yeah, you can't say these things and blah, blah, blah. I kind of grew out of it. I don't want to put them in the same category as like the Carlin, as the Kinnison and Gallagher stuff either, because it's different. It's kind of, it's like I said, you have it. It's your moment in time. That's back like, oh, The Daily Show is hilarious. I love this George Carlin special. And then you grow up and you're like, this is cringe as shit. Having said that, he's a really good orator, so he delivers it well. Funny enough, Johnny Trejo, I too was raised with my parents listening to Cheech and Chong albums, which I did not understand. They were like Seth Rogen? Yeah, they were the Seth Rogen of the 70s. Except for funnier than Seth Rogen. And I will admit, after all their movies, I remember I used to watch all the Cheech and Chong movies. The one that I think has stood the test of time is the Corsican Brothers. If you guys haven't seen this, it's probably going to be on Orion eventually. It's a Cheech and Chong movie. If you don't know, it's just stoner comedy. But for the Corsican Brothers, they played two medieval brothers who could feel the other one's pain. So if you hit the one brother, the other brother felt it. Pretty interesting premise. And it actually made it a good movie. But all the other Cheech and Chong movies didn't really work for me. Yeah, Hicks phase. Hicks would be another example of like the Carlin stuff. Like, okay, yeah. Hicks was like, fuck you, Dad, the comedy special. Hicks died too young, man. No, I think he died adequately young. He is just like, what's-his-face from Nirvana. If they had not died so young, you would have grown to resent how fucking retarded they were. Which, I know it's a horrible thing to say, but yeah, I think so. And I know Joe Rogan's like, Sam Kinnison's the greatest. I'm like, yeah, well, you grew up on this. I think the Smashing Pumpkins are greatest, but, you know, have you listened to one of their new albums? Not a big fan of it. Yeah, Copain, exactly. By the way, the music earlier on the Orion trailer sounded like Canadian guy Maury Vivinatar on her album Don't Trip de Buchels Piquet. No shit. It's good to know. Anyways, I'm going to do a quick ad because I got to take a bathroom break, and then we're going to come back to ranting and riffing on this red pill shit. Is it this one? Yeah.
I tolerate no resistance. Fairly evenly matched.
Do you love gratuitous nudity? Do you love a good science fiction story? Do you love comedies?
What is the cube root of 3,264.5?
Did you ever think Monty Python was great, but wish it had more spaceships and mommy milkers?
That's normal where I come from.
How about a movie with gratuitous nudity, just because it's awesome? Do you yearn for that perfect blend in an amusing comedy romp? Stories that are so simple they border on nonsensical.
That's right, Sonny. Put your money in. I sort out your hang-up.
A movie that takes a basic premise. Brits on a night out who get kidnapped by aliens that all look like British women and turns it into high art.
He's got one of the most advanced bodies in the universe.
It's 1979, at the peak of the Cold War. Nuclear annihilation from incompetent pink commies seems right around the corner. And sometimes, guys just needed a release. I don't know if the cast is any good.
You can't win them all, kiddo.
I don't know what the director did besides this, and honestly, I don't care.
Oh, and be careful. It's extremely dangerous.
One of the girls is Ava Cadell, best-selling author, and she was in Commando with Arnold for gratuitous nudity, which is awesome.
What's that? Have you got a weapon down there?
They don't make movies like this anymore. It's got nudity, jokes, science fiction, and 90 minutes of pure fun. Did I mention the nudity? Yeah, back in the day, you could have a sex scene as long as you didn't show the baby-making bits.
Please. There, I got a lovely exposure.
You could also make it funny. Kids these days don't know how to laugh at a good boob joke. But that changes today. It's the timeless story of Britain. It's the classic humor your dad grew up with.
It's growing.
It's a hidden gem, and it actually has a good story if you bother to pay attention, though you probably won't. It's Spaced Out, 1979.
You have one of the most advanced bodies in the universe. Do you feel better, Ollie?
What?
It's not fair.
So Dark Knight Dev, $5.69 super chat. There is a podcast called The Lapsed Fan that talks about 70s, 80s, and 90s pro wrestling and how to protect kayfabe. By the way, I'm making buttermilk biscuits. Dude, could you think of a blacker recipe right now? Interesting. You know what's funny? I don't make biscuits very much. I don't do a lot of baking. Madeline's, I think. Biscuits, I do enjoy. They have the same purpose in cooking that... What am I going to say here? Like things that are made to be dipped. They're purposely made dry, so that way you have to have them with something. So it's always biscuits and gravy, or biscuits with soup, or biscuits as dumplings into something like that. It always got to have something with moisture to it, same as like a lot of cookies are made to be dipped with your coffee or dipped with milk or whatever. It's interesting. It's like the idea of cooking something to give it a deficiency in order to have it pair with something better. I think it's just like a fascinating thing. Hopefully they're good. I checked out The Last Fan. I'm looking at his thing here. Let's see. The John Cena heel turn. I can't believe John Cena's still in wrestling. That's crazy. WWF 7 best of. Holy. Ooh. You might have a new fan, sir. The best of WWF 7? I'm assuming he means WrestleMania 7. If so, he's a man after my own heart. Did you guys know? By the way, WCW is showing like live, so you can go watch WCW shows and they're acting like, oh, it's happening right now. And the same as Hasbro is showing that with old 80s cartoons. They have a rotation of G.I. Joe, of Transformers, of GoBots, of all that stuff. There's a guy called Orbital Bacon who picks like all of the obscure Saturday morning cartoons that you forgot you loved, like, you know, Brave Star, Lost City of Gold, the Dungeons and Dragons one, and they just have this stuff on constant repeat. Like, you could, if you wanted to, you could go back and live 1985. All you need is some Fruit Loops and a bowl and then this stuff, and you could just sit there and relive. The only thing it's missing is those, remember those little jingles? I think it was ABC that used to have them. The after these messages, we'll be right back. And they have little claymation figures doing dancing and whatever. That's the only thing missing from the experience to make perfect. Roddy Piper has a couple of top 40 hits, such as I'm Your Man. Yeah, I don't want to talk about the WWF albums. The Bret Hart one, the Hulk Hogan one. I'm like, eh. Yeah, Orbital Beacon, WCW channel, great channels. And I think there's one that keeps showing the old WrestleManias too, which is interesting. To like, they still hit right. I think the reason that late 80s and early to mid 90s was the pinnacle of wrestling was because they hit the right balance between overly stylized, unrealistic, and realistic or verisimilitude. If I only had a video talking about this one on the Orion channel. Yeah, they hit just that right area. Attitude, I get it. They were kind of losing that audience. They wanted a new one, and so they had to go like hyper realistic and badass and fuck you, dad. And then the new ones, I tried watching SmackDown, or was it Raw? It might have been Raw, and it was just so weird. It felt like I was watching them play a video game. Like all the wrestlers were trying to be Bret Hart, all technical skilled. I couldn't tell that, like, if you put a mask on them, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference between the guys. Like back in the day, I could tell if it was even if I didn't see the faces, that's a Roddy Piper match. There's certain things that they do. Or Ric Flair, I know exactly what a Ric Flair match looks like. I know what a Macho Man match looks like. I know what a Hogan match looks like too. It's not even so much about the mic work. It's just like the wrestling. They had a voice. Like everybody's fighting style had a voice to it, even though they were learning the same techniques and that stuff. Like the idea of Andre doing his big hand and then grab you by the neck or grab you by the face and just like, I'm gonna fucking crush you. It's like shit like that. It was just, yeah, you got to love your certain guys. Yeah, Jake the Snake. You could always tell who was wrestling by the style of the wrestling. And now granted, Mr. Perfect and Bret Hart were fairly similar, but I kind of like how it was that. That was like the Superman and Batman of wrestling. Like those guys were the technical experts, Mr. Perfect and Bret Hart. My family's been doing this for 7 generations. Well, my gimmick is I am perfect. Like, oh shit. I'm glad you stayed away from watching AEW. It's like a choreographed gymnastics routine. Yeah, and they took that from like Mexican luchadors, which I get the appeal to that, but you can't just do that. As soon as you start making like a choreography display, it misses something. Like I really do think wrestling missed out on the fighting style. They did the same problem that movies did back when like Roadhouse and those type of movies realized like your fighting is not supposed to be realistic. Your fighting is supposed to be an emotional experience. That's why if you ever watch like an old Van Damme movie, I think I showed it on the Kickboxer video. Most of the time they're doing fighting, it's not an actual fight. It's not choreographed. It'll be like a setup and then a payoff. So like Tong Po and Van Damme are standing. Tong Po's right behind him, and he comes running at him with his hands out like he's gonna hurt him. Van Damme brings a fucking foot up by his head, kicks him, and screams and then flexes in front of the thing. That's meant to be cathartic. You're meant to think this guy fucking raped your girlfriend, this guy crippled your brother, this guy kidnapped your friend and your teacher, and now everything's been fixed, and they're like, now you can fight at full strength, man, because you don't have to worry about anything but revenge. And so every time he kicks him, they want to make it a big spinning heel kick. And like, oh, that would have never worked. It's not the point. The point is not to make this a perfectly choreographed fight. The point is you have been built up with hating this guy for 92 minutes. And now you're going to watch Van Damme not just win, but do it in a spectacular, gratifying way. And once somebody's like, yeah, but that's not realistic. Autism has ruined movies as much as feminism. Kathleen Kennedy can't hold a candle to the choreographed fight guy with autism. Flat out. Yeah, AEW took indie wrestling and put it on TV with bad luchadors from Southern California. That sucks. Does that know his little toenails? I don't know who that was. They sneak in and they sneak out. I do enjoy that. I'm going to miss that as a gimmick if because these guys aren't going to be a couple more years at the most where you don't see a little fucking raptor skittling across. Shadow of the Dog. I don't know that one. Had a tiny crush on The Undertaker. Dude, The Undertaker was awesome. But that's what I mean. They can't do that. They don't do that today with wrestling or with movies. What was The Undertaker's thing? He is, like, first off, he's an Undertaker, but he's kind of a zombie, maybe a vampire. He's kind of got, like, a vague, fungible sense of all that invincibility of being undead. But he's technically The Undertaker. It didn't make sense, but it did for him. And I remember that. Paul Bear had the urn, and as long as he had the urn, you couldn't hurt Undertaker. And that was his gimmick, which is like, you would not think it would work. Back then, if you really wanted to make a character work, you had to sell it. Like, sell the hit. So what means if somebody goes to, like, hit you, the guy doing the aggression isn't what makes it compelling. It's the guy who takes the hit and has to sell it. He has to look like that clubbing across the face, like, launched him. He has to look like this is real damage being done. It's the guy getting beat up that sells it or doesn't sell it. And The Undertaker specifically built his gimmick around not selling anything. It would have been, I'm actually surprised he did as well as he did, because I can see every other wrestler being fucking annoyed by that. I can't just do the fucking point in his face and then punch him in the neck because he's just invincible and sits up. Fuck that. But it worked. Of course, Hogan's like, I know what to do. I'm going to crack him over the head with his urn, and that'll break, and then dump the urn, and then I can fight him. I'm like, all right, fair enough. Dark Knight Dev, $10 super chat. There's a video that talked about how Saturday morning cartoons on local TV peaked in the 80s and 90s but died by 2008. We have sacrificed great experiences like Blockbuster for efficiency like Netflix. You understand it. It's the MP3 effect. Yes, the MP3 effect, if you guys have not heard this. It was Berkeley, if I'm not mistaken. Or was it Berkeley? It's a music school. It might have been Juilliard. Anyways, the school does not matter. The professor used to, every year, he would do interviews or like surveys with his students. What sounded better? And everybody was always about vinyl this and vinyl that, and tape sounded worse and whatever. And what he was knowing is over time, people noticed like, oh, MP3s are horrible. They have like a hissing sound to it. It's lossy information. They don't sound as good. But the thing was, with Napster and that, it was so easy to get an unlimited amount of music. And so people were just grabbing them and putting up with that. It's not as good, but I'd rather have 500 music options on my iPod than having a CD with 10 tracks. Accessibility over quality. Part of the reason that makes it the MP3 effect, is after a while, people started to prefer the MP3 sound. The vinyl sound too clear, I kind of need that hissing on there. And that's the MP3 effect. We trade quality for access, and we actually learn to prefer the imperfections. Now, of course, when you're talking about cartoons in the 80s and 90s that died by 2008, a lot of that is based on the law too. Reagan, if I'm not mistaken, and I might get the timelines a little mixed up, but the gist is right. Reagan passed a law saying you weren't allowed to advertise for kids anymore, or maybe Carter. Anyways, in the early 80s, you weren't allowed to advertise directly to kids anymore, because they're like, kids are stupid and kids are just going to buy, and they were like, how do you harass the parents enough? They're like, you need to give them 6 minutes of nagging. So you need to give the kids 6 minutes of content in order for them to nag their parents to make them 30% more likely to buy G.I. Joe. And they're like, all right, so now that we can't advertise for kids, how do we run an end run around this? And then they realized, dude, I'll just make a cartoon. And that's why the 80s and 90s cartoons were good, because those were 22-minute commercials with commercials. Do you ever wonder why they always introduced a new Transformer every episode? It's because that's a new toy. Sunscreen, the F-14 Tomcat, that episode came out in like 1986 when Top Gun was huge. And like, oh my god, a Transformer? That's an F-14? Fucking hook it up. He was a one-time character, but he sold so many fucking toys. Same with G.I. Joe. There was like 500 characters, and they'd kill some, and they'd start new ones. Why? Because you could sell toys like that. And I hate to say it, but everybody's like, the commercialization, blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, that incentive made for some kick-ass television. It really did. And the reason it died by 2008 was just, again, the internet. We traded quality for access. And now everybody can make a cartoon. Everybody, like, there's Bratz dolls and whatever, and it just didn't work anymore. So it was nice. It was a thing that we had for a brief period, and now it's gone. People are trying to bring it back. Like, I'll give you, for all the millennials in here, you're going to love this. Do you remember Homestar Runner? They brought back Homestar. You go to homestarrunner.com, and you're like, whatever. They had those on YouTube all the, like, no, it's not the same. If you guys remember, Homestar Runner was a very interactive cartoon. There was all kinds of little things you could do. Like sometimes just the menu. Characters, tunes. Everybody remembers tunes. There was one animation that he had where there was 2 Homestars and one of them was a fake. But if you played with the URL up top to view the file directly as opposed to through an HTML browser, you could actually see which one was fake because he had a mustache off screen. Like little shit like that. So the new one, they've actually put all that stuff back. All the Easter eggs, all the interactivity. I guess they did it through HTML5, which is awesome. I still have Bill Maher on MP3 from 2005. Jesus Christ. You know what's funny too? I watched old Bill Maher comedy specials. He's not a comedian. He's clever. And he's entertaining. I really do agree with Norm Macdonald. Where like Bill Maher wanted to be the smartest guy in the room too much to be funny. And to be funny, you can't be smarter than the audience. Because it makes the audience... And I'm like... I think being stupid is like very deceptively difficult to do, and that's what Bill Maher never did. That's why he's probably better off as the pundit he is now. He's like Piers Morgan, but not as irritating. But a lot of the time, his jokes were just, I'm telling you the thing you want to hear. Am I right, fellas? And I'm like, all right, it's good enough. He's extra Jewish. Yeah. Anyways, so let's do a summary. I think we're coming close to the end of time here. Okay, what's my time? 1 second here. Yeah, we're winding it down. We've done the bants. We've done the actionable information. So to sum up on before, it's really about what is adequate. What's the fucking term for it? Adequate critique. Adequate self-critique. And its trick is to make it objective. And while it's easy to say that thing, I kind of bring you through the process, start to finish, how you get from self-unaware to self-aware. And hopefully you use that to entertain yourself and solve the problems you need to do. And then once that's done, start enjoying things. Here's some good movies you can watch. Here's wrestling when it was really good. Here's why things suck now. It's not because they suck or because it's nostalgia. It's because they were objectively better. And it's not coming back because access is being traded for quality. And if things go the way they go with everything else, people are going to start to prefer the slop. So yeah, the stuff that happened before, it's there. Enjoy it. Have its time. Move on. Anywho, so that's Red Morning for this one. Oh, the pitches. I forgot about the pitches. If you have not... Look, I'm not a reader. Clary's not a reader. Nobody's a reader. You guys don't read. I don't read. I get that. Having said that, this book is for people who don't read books. I don't know how else to explain it. It was everybody who's not a reader who has had a chance to read the book. Could not put it down. I read it. I fucking hate my own books. I refuse to open up fuck files. I refuse to look at the praxeology stuff anymore. If I remember it, that's great. I can't open it up. It bothers me. I fucking hate them. At the end of all the work I put into everything from the audiobook, I'm like, I don't want to fucking look at this again. I even want to read it. Sometimes I can't sleep. I put in my own book. The only reason I'm not reading it right now is because I'm reading the new one, Jake Long and Softbone, as I finish the second rewrite before we get that one out, hopefully in the summer or the fall, along with Praxeology Volume 4, which, to be continued. This is a book made for men, and you're going to find out something here. It's not even so much that the book is good, which it is. It's not even so much that the characters are compelling, which they are. It's not so much that there's like red-pilled things peppered in there, but it's very subtle, so you can kind of see it, but it's made to be realistic in the sense that it has verisimilitude. But it does. It's that you're going to realize, dude, it's not that I don't read books. It's not that I don't enjoy reading books. It's that, like the slop, like the wrestling slop, like the AEW slop, like the movie slop, like the TV slop, it's just that nobody's making good shit anymore. And if somebody makes, and I'm not saying it's the greatest book ever. It is not the greatest book ever, but it doesn't have to be. It's better than good. It's good enough. And you're like, holy shit, if it's a good enough book, I can fucking read it and I can enjoy it. And it'll give you a newfound love for things you never thought you liked. You'll watch Orion. You'll start watching older movies and TV shows. You're like, dude, I love watching TV. It turns out I just hate slop. You'll watch the YouTube channel going, dude, I actually like watching YouTube. I just hate slop. You'll read the book going, oh my God, I love reading books. I just hate reading slop. It's the anti-slop. It's the creative outlet. And it's like, it's a gateway. First hit's $9.99. And yeah, you'll get there. Yeah, which book? The book is called The Dog Walker. Story about a man's quest for a duvet cover. In reality, it's about a promise keeper. A man who promised his mom he would never turn to the asshole that his stepdad was, finding out that sabotaged his love life. It's got everything. It is a humorous story about a character's coming of age as an adult with some serious moments. Everybody tends to pick out, there's a lot of stuff that resonates with you, and I've seen everything from I fucking hated that character because he reminds me of myself, or I was in that situation and it fucking hit me here, and like people get a visceral reaction to it, but not to every part of it. Everybody takes a different piece of it, which I think is awesome. I think that's great. Yeah, I can hardly read books anymore. Something about the digital interface warped my attention span, and that's not it. Ty, I'm telling you, that's not it. I used to think the same thing. And you know what I did? I had Nick, my editor, start sending me books that I would like. He gave me the Short Happy Life of Macomb, and I read that start to finish. And I'm like, oh, dude, that's awesome. I had him recommend Defiance by Oliver Platt, Oliver something. Anyways, read the whole book in like a day and a half. Dogwalker, read that one too. Loved it. Oliver Lange, that's the one. That's the one who wrote Defiance. Theft of Fire. Devin Erickson. Read that book. Took me like 3 days to read it. I read it in 3 chunks, but that was mostly because I was busy during that time. It turns out, yeah, the digital interface has not warped your attention span. It's just because you have so much choice in your life of what to give your attention to, you cannot keep attention on shitty products. You can't watch a shitty movie without being on your phone because the movie is shit. You can't finish a book anymore because books are shit. I'm telling you, you will find this. Oh my God. You will read Dogwalker. You will read Theft of Fire. You will read these books and you're like, oh my God, I can finish this book. You'll start to feel proud of yourself and you realize, no, I just don't like shit. I listened to Neuromancer, freaked me out. I have tried 3 times to read Neuromancer. I cannot stand the series. I fucking hate the series. I love Cyberpunk and I fucking hate Neuromancer. Somebody suggested I try his short stories out. We're giving that a go, but already he's losing me. Yeah, exactly. If something is good, it will keep your attention. And if anything, I enjoy that. Crescent Slice, $4.99 super chat. Is there an audiobook for the Dogwalker or not yet? There is not yet. The peak, so I normally would start it about a month after the book comes out, so it's out by the 3rd month. I have not started it yet because I'm focused on getting these other 2 books out. I probably will be doing this one. It'll most likely be quicker because now my equipment is nice enough that I don't have to do a lot of mastering. Most likely going to get it started in May, which means it'll probably be out by June, just in time for the new Praxeology book, which is in July. And then Jake Stone, Softbone will be in the fall sometime, maybe September, October. So yeah, keep it out there. But I will say this, this is going to sound weird, but the audiobook is a business decision. The paperback is the labor of love. I understand you're going to lose something in the audiobook version, but at the same time, it's not my job to tell you how to enjoy something. It's my job to provide you a way in which you want to enjoy it. You know what I mean? So from a business perspective, yeah, the audiobook will be coming out. But as a creative, as a guy who birthed something that comes out in the world, I would prefer if you got the paperback. Not the Kindle, not the hardcover, the paperback. That's the optimized enjoyment mechanism for it. I read Neuromancer as a teenager and I loved it, but then it was a teen idiot. I don't know what it is for me, though. It's not the themes. It's not that. It's like, first off, I don't like the fact that Gibson doesn't seem to understand tech at all. For being like the pioneer of the concept of high tech, low life, he has no idea what tech is. He made the tech is magic, and the low life stuff is so goddamn cool that it's not low life. So how can you make high tech low life when there's no tech and high life? Oh my God, everybody's like a fucking punk rocker, cowboy, cool implants that do funky things. Yeah, oh, that would be what the worst horrible life that is. I'm like, dude, if you're gonna do high tech low life, make it low life. You know what low life is? Your fucking shitter gives you a 30-second ad because the Google wants to make another 3 cents off you before you can take a deuce. Your wife gets IVF treatment and she doesn't want you touching her during it because the bacteria could infect it and prevent her chance of having a baby at 38 years old. Fuck that. That's low life. That's high tech too. You know what technology you need for that kind of shit to happen? A lot. You have the power of gods of life and death, and you've turned it into a way to make a husband cucked in his own house. Oh my God, god damn. I liked Cormac McCarthy's The Road. Dude, he's the one who did No Country for Old Men, right? Which I gotta admit, I don't like his writing either, but everybody who does like it makes me want to, like, maybe I just didn't start with the right thing, maybe I need to hit it in the right frame of mind or whatever. I think for me, the reason I didn't like it was he's describing a movie in the stuff that I was reading. He needs to know what color every blade of grass is, what the sunset specifically looked like, and I'm like, describing Like, you watching a movie and then reading back to me describing what you saw doesn't interest me. Books aren't movies. They can't be movies. If you're writing a book in order to make a screenplay, I would totally get why you did that, which is most likely why he did. Yeah, epically poetic. I think that's what gets me, is he's too descriptive. I don't, and this is one thing, and this is my personal preference, I don't think it makes anybody a bad writer or a good writer, and I'm certainly not the person to make that assessment, is that the more descriptive and poetic the writer is, the less work I have to do in imagining the story that he's laid out for me. And I don't like when the writer takes my job out of the thing, because the whole point of reading, it's not just to learn, hear a story, it's so that I can imagine the things that he's writing about. And if I can't do that, then I might as well just watch the TV adaptation, you know? And it's not that I don't read poetic stuff, dude. I just put it on my Twitter not so long ago. It's a new article. Well, it's not my article. It's where is it? Why the Reeds Are Hollow. Gabriela Mistral wrote a poem. It's essentially, and from what Chesty has told me, it's the same as a Rush song called The Tree. It's about equality and how equality kind of kills us all and makes all of us weak at the end. And I was like, oh, it's pretty awesome. It's not very long, but it's good. So I can handle allegory. I can handle poems. Yeah. So, does that mean it's a good book? Does it mean it's a bad book? I couldn't tell you. From a business perspective, though, you could do a lot worse than a McCarthy or a Gibson level of fame. I think that's actually a wonderful thing. And the one thing that does make me happy about this is I've read Colleen Hoover, and I'm like, dude, if she can make it, anybody can make it. Anybody can make it. So that's it for me. Hope you guys enjoy yourself. I don't know who's hosting Rule Zero. Hopefully they've been in here saying it on First Blood. Oh, the Rambo book? I'll have to give that one a call. That's on my list too, the First Blood and Die Hard. So Jack is? Alright, Jack's going to host it. I'm just not going to do the redirect. You figure it out yourself. You know how to get there. And also, he's looking for work. So before we leave, please, if you guys have a job podcasting, give this man a job.
I don't usually post pictures of my kids online, but they're infants and you can barely see them, so, it's fine. But a YouTuber named Ryan Stone tweeted, showing off the F trophies for clout. So the babies are trophies that I'm showing off. It's perhaps not a surprise that a picture of a proud father would be so upsetting to the sort of man who clearly never had one.
$79T 2458 Learning Corp. Little Red Riding Hood. Take one.